When I decided to resign, after all that we've said and done, John and I, after all this time that we've spent talking and thinking about Mormonism, and I have decided to organize a mass resignation at Ensign Downs Park, which is at the base of Ensign Peak. We'll be gathering and we'll be bringing our resignation letters, those of us who are resigning. So this rally is for anyone who can support people who are resigning. And we're not doing this event out of anger or protest. We're doing it to support people who are resigning, which is difficult. To make it so that it's not a hidden thing.
I came here to show a sign of support as much as anything else. I haven't been active in the church for the last 6 years when I decided that I was done with it and walked away, but I hadn't formally resigned. Decided it's about time, and I'd like to show a show of support.
I found out about the mass resignation online yesterday through a news article, and I've been wanting to resign for probably the last 6 years, but never really had the push to, didn't want to hurt my family, all the, typical reasons as to it just takes too much time. But when I saw other people were coming, I decided why not? If it's a group thing, if it makes it easier, if it makes it more comfortable, I thought it'd be a great idea to come see who was out here.
I'm here for the people, really. There's all these wonderful people that come out of the woodwork once they know they can continue forward. It's not that difficult to find them, and I kind of fell into it, but I'm so grateful. And it's not some sign from a higher being that I found these people. There's just people everywhere.
I'm a part of it to support my mom, because she's been through a lot, and I think it's taken a lot out of her, and I just being supportive because I was one of the people who kind of took it out of her, I guess. I'm just here to show support to all of those that are in the same spot that I have been in and going through the journey, and we just love you in or out of the church, and you're not alone, and we support you.
I'm here to show support for my fiance who is resigning and for the rest of my friends who are here. I have actually never been Mormon. I grew up in Texas in another fundamentalist Christian denomination. But after I moved here a couple years ago, I learned a lot about the Mormon Church, and I think my friends here are doing the right thing, and I just wanted to show support for them.
We wanted to show support for those of our friends who have left like we have. My husband and I left several years ago, but we wanted to make sure that that the people that were leaving today had support, and that we could make a statement for them.
Well, I'm here to support Mormon Expression, and I'm here to support people that are ready to resign or have already resigned, and I'm here to myself resign.
I decided to be a part of this because I was concerned at first that it was going to be interpreted as an aggressive act, and I didn't want to do that because I'm not an aggressive person. But I realized that there are people out there who are afraid of being able to share with their families what they really feel about the church and about religion. And then I thought, I can represent a few hundred people just by my being one person that is free to come out and say what I really think and feel.
Well, I am resigning today because I turned 18 recently, and I saw this coming up and I thought it was a perfect opportunity to finally resign. I've been wanting to leave the church for about 6 years now. However, since my parents divorced and my dad is still a true believer, he did not let me resign until now. I really feel that it's a great thing to be here and be part of this with everyone else and support them as they support me, and we resign together.
Well, I actually resigned in 2004 and got my official notice that it was acknowledged in 2005, so I just came to be supportive today.
Well, I resigned over a decade ago, and my son is actually 18. He turned 18 in May, and I came to support him and also to support the other people who are resigning from the church.
I'm finally decided to resign. Like, the first one in my whole extended family to resign.
kind of a hard decision, but finally decided to be free.
Well, my main reason is because I've seen a lot of suffering that people have gone through as they leave the church. And I want to help reduce the suffering by supporting each other, and also hopefully getting the word out to our community that we're here and that we're not scary. We're nice people.
Yeah, I think there's still a shame factor associated with leaving the church and just living sort of authentically outside of the church. And we want to sort of try to break through that and show that there's community and there's support, and there is another side to the chasm that you have to cross.
I'm here to finally resign. I've been out for 5 years along with my children, and I am resigning with them today. It's time for me to be out and proud and to be authentic and be who I am and not be afraid.
To support Zilpha and John and
anybody that's
cause.
Resigning from the church.
Yeah.
I am here because I'm one of the people who have resigned from Mormonism. I resigned in 2002. I'm here to lend support and receive support from the group.
We wanted to meet people who
are like us,
who have experienced the same thing.
Us
we live in Utah Valley, and it's
difficult.
it's been hard. We've lost a lot of friends, and so we wanted to make new ones
and
with people who understood us.
And plus, we wanted to support people who are doing this and make sure that we show our validness, our honesty. I mean, that's why we resigned too. We wanted to be honest. The organization that is the LDS Corporation, it doesn't define us. We're different people now. We don't agree with what is happening and with what happened and what will probably continue to happen. We just don't agree with it, and it doesn't define us.
You know, I kind of have a personal message. You know, I just love to tell my family that we're still good people and that we still love them, even though it's really hard for them to accept that we've walked away from the religion and walked away from the stuff that they hold dear, but that we still care about them, and that we hope someday that they'll be able to come to feel that they can love us that way also.
Yes, I'd like to say something to those who are still seeking and searching for answers and explanations to do with the whole church. If the church's answers aren't quite right or satisfying for you, it's not something wrong with you. Follow your inner intellectual honesty all the way to the end, because it's truth that matters. Not cookie cutter answers that you're just going to get every time you ask a question. You know, you dig into it for yourself and trust yourself, believe in yourself that you can find the truth, and don't just give up because it makes your life easier or more convenient, because that's what all these people did. They were brave. They suffered inconveniences and hardships and separations because of their search for the truth, but they decided to prioritize truth. And the people who are still their friends and family afterwards are the people who really love them for who they are.
To people that are questioning, don't be afraid of what might be out there. Fear is what stops people from action. And the fear is real, it's genuine, but don't be afraid. Keep looking, keep digging, because the world takes on so much more beauty once you can see it for what it actually is. The church, in my opinion, if they would even just do simple things such as face their history, I think that they would be a lot more palatable for most people.
I would say keep searching. There's a truth that you can find about the universe, but it's already in front of us. We just kind of have to take the blinders off.
Coming from a personal situation, I didn't want to listen to my loved ones or my family when they expressed concerns, and I wouldn't let them defend themselves or their positions, and I felt like I would need to break my ties with family members. And instead I chose to love and help the family members, and I started studying and found there was more to the story than I understood at the time, and I would have greatly regretted breaking my family ties had I not chosen to love them more. Dare to do right and dare to seek truth, and that's how I started on my journey.
That it's okay to leave the church. It's okay not to be Mormon. It's okay not to believe. And you can still live a happy life and not be Mormon. I think that's the biggest fear. The church tells us we're not going to be happy when we leave the church. And I physically left the church over 20 years ago, and I've had family and a daughter and school and work and friends, and my life's great.
Yeah, I would like for people to consider removing the stigma associated with leaving the LDS Church. I would like for people to, instead of looking at people as members or non-members, just to say, just to say, who are you? I'd like to get to know you, not regardless of their religion, regardless of whether they've been a Mormon or not. I was always taught to believe that people that leave the church are cruel and angry people, and they want to destroy others' testimonies, and I never wanted to become like that. So I was kind of afraid when I first left the church, and I would just like to show that we're not angry people. We're sensible people, and we want to do what we feel is right for us and for our families, and we love being a part of the community, not just the post-Mormon community, but all of Utah community.
Well, to those here, congratulations. I think this is a really big and meaningful step. I think to my Mormon family and friends, no hard feelings. We love you. It's a tough choice. Please understand.
Just the internet is your friend. Anyone who has any questions, just Google, research, Yahoo, Bing, whatever. Just look things up and try and solve problems for yourself. Use your head. Don't just blindly follow faith.
The reasons why I chose to leave, there's quite a few, but I didn't know about the history. I didn't know about a lot of the things people talk about. What I could see, it was damaging my children. And so when my son was 11 and getting ready to get the priesthood, I wasn't going to subject him to the things that my husband and other people I know have been subjected to, where he's questioned about very personal things, alone in a room with an adult. I wasn't going to do that to my family, or to my children especially, because I knew how damaging it had been to me as a child. So I was going to end that cycle, and I did. The church owes everyone an apology instead of excuses, and instead of just quietly removing those quotes from the books. They need to take responsibility and say, we're sorry and we're going to do better. And even though the leaders themselves did not make those quotes. They support an institution that perpetuated those ideas for decades. So it's time for someone to stand up and have the integrity to just apologize. Because most of us, that's all we need.
Do what your heart says is right. Seek after truth, and everything will be okay. I know a lot of questioning LDS people are worried about how their family will view what they do, or if they speak out and talk about what they really think and really believe, that they'll be ostracized, and that has happened and continues to happen. But as Emerson said, you know, let truth and error grapple, and truth will prevail. And I think today's turnout is a really good example of just that.
If you're happy with Mormonism, I would say stay. It's difficult to leave. It puts strains on family relationships and business relationships and community relationships. But if it's to the point where you have found out enough information that you can no longer close your eyes, then there's a huge community of people that'll support you.
Probably my message would be to the people who are considering leaving the church, or who are who feel ready to resign if it wasn't for family pressures, work pressures. Maybe take the plunge and just take a leap and be authentic.
I think it's hard, but it gets better. It's worth it. And what's the tagline you guys put on the flyer? Out of the shadows into the light. And we're not talking about the church being shadows. We're talking about living that sort of half, I'm trying to keep everybody happy, but I'm trying to keep myself happy. And there is light on the other side.
Truth is important, and I think it matters that whether the church is true or not, and so.
And if the church were true, that would be fine, you know. But we need to look at, if the church is not true, then it's a pretty important thing to think about, you know. So that's why it's so important for people to study. Whenever I ask somebody about the church, they tell me they know all the critical arguments about the church. And I said that, you know. I said that, and everybody I know that has left the church says that, has said that at one point, and now they say, and every single one of those same people will say, I thought I knew about the history of the church and the issues that surround, you know, the controversial issues. It turns out I did not know them, you know. Even if you're a parent of young kids, chances are those kids are going to find out about this stuff, and if you as a parent don't know about it, you know, so even if you're a member, you need to know it. You need to know about this stuff.
Specifically to church leaders, stop the bigotry. Just stop the homophobia, stop the ostracism, stop sponsoring organizations that do that. Stop sponsoring reparative therapy organizations. Just, I'm tired of, excuse me, I'm trying to not be emotional. I'm tired of reading testimonials. I'm tired of watching videos. I'm tired of hearing the stories of suicides, of excommunications, of social crucifixions. I'm tired of all of that.
You know, to people who are finding information that they think is anti-Mormon, you know, look at the source. Look at it. Does it come from a journal? Does it come from a newspaper clipping? Does it come from something of that era? Don't necessarily think of it as anti-Mormon, because if it comes from that time, if it's written by someone's hand, that's their personal account of it. And then that's up to you to decide how you feel about it and if you believe in the validity of it. When we started doing our research, we didn't like what we found, but we also believed it because it was from government documents, like we said, journals, newspaper clippings. These are all, I don't know what to say, but these are all historical documents.
Yeah, other people feel the same way you do. If you have questions, other people feel the same way you do. More people than you can even imagine. 100,000 people every year do what we are doing here now.
And it's going to be hard because you're going to lose a lot of friends, and that is hard. But also at the same time, the friends that still talk to you afterwards, you realize that they are your friends. They are the people that love you, not just for your religion. That is hard, but you got to be strong, and you got to know that you are being full of integrity yourself because you're doing what you believe to be right, which is what they're doing as well. It's kind of like two magnets. You're gonna buffer a little bit, but as long as you have mutual respect for each other, you're gonna get along just fine.
You know, we are really, really excited about our future. You know, it's so wonderful to be able to not have a religion dictate what's right and wrong for you. You don't have to squirm because you innately you feel like, you know, gay rights should be a right, and but your religion's holding you back from accepting that, or that, you know, your children come home and talk about evolution, you can totally support it, and you can take science down whatever exciting new avenue that it will take you, and you don't have to be afraid that it's going to conflict with your religious dogma.
My future, I feel very good. I love the community that's happening up in here because they're kind of moving away from the church and not being so caught up in it and the inner workings and the politics. It's more of a free society and the help and the structure that you need to go throughout life and feel comfortable and loved.
Utah's a great place to live. I think the religious culture is probably always going to be here, but I just hope and I think that what will eventually happen is that people will be able to be more tolerant of other people's intellectual journeys, and that's what I aim for. The advancement of the cause of science and rationality, and I see that expanding every day, and at least my circle of friends is getting larger, and I hope that we can have a positive influence on the rest of society here in Utah.
I'm very optimistic about the future moving forward. I have found, as I have been able to leave the church, I have been able to expand my horizons and so much more in the things that I'm able to understand and view and just get to know. That this world is beautiful. There's so much here for us to learn about and to enjoy and be a part of, and really this world is enough.
The world is a much brighter and happier place now that I see it without judgment of others, without bias. I just don't judge others. I can love everybody. It's a much happier world.
I feel great about my future. I feel totally free about my future. One of the problems with organized religion, especially Mormonism, is it doesn't give you any freedom to learn what you truly believe and who you really are. You have to fit their mold or learn to fit their mold, or you don't really have a place or an identity. And being out of the church allows me to be whoever I'm going to be, to have friends with whoever I want, to appreciate people for everything that they are and not their membership or their activity level or their testimony. It just frees me up to love everybody for who they are.
I'm excited about the future. I'm excited to own myself. When we left the church, our state president had said that if I didn't, it was before we left the church, he said if I didn't renounce my beliefs that he would take away my temple recommend. And my husband said, what did she actually do? And the state president said, do you see this question? It says, do you affiliate with or agree with anyone whose views are contrary or opposed to the church? And he said, yeah. And the stake president said, she agrees with herself. Yeah. and you know, if I had thought about it today, I would have made my shirt say, I agree with myself. This one says, good person, and the back says, what does it say?
Being a good person is good enough.
Being a good person is good enough. And I really believe that. And also, but agreeing with yourself is good enough too. We do not have to have our heads correlated in order to be good, moral people. And yes, I do agree with myself. And as such, I'm excited about the future. I'm excited with the choices that I'm going to make. I'm excited for my family. And there is life after Mormonism. So we're excited about that.
Well, I guess peaceful. Honesty is an important thing, and that's my quest.
Pretty good. I got college in front of me and everything going well, so I hope to become a good person in the future, get a PhD maybe in computer science, do some good things and help people out.
Very optimistic. I feel like I'm part of a big change in the United States and globally, and part of an enlightenment that will continue until people really see what is important and see that truth is really the final arbiter of everything.
I'm excited about it. I'm happy to feel like I closed the door, to feel like there's finally an ending to something that didn't really make me happy, that didn't really have a big part of my life, or I didn't want to have a big part of my life. So this now feels like I've shut it down, I'm starting somewhere new, and I can move on finally.
I'm excited. You know, like when I was born, I had a whole layout for my whole life, you know, get married, the temple, you know, go on a mission, all that stuff. But now I can do whatever I want. I could set my own like goals, and I'm excited.
And that's part of the reason why we're doing it, is to sort of help us move on. And I think we're ready to do that, and life is good, and life is exciting, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, we're optimistic, and we've seen the struggles that people have leaving the church on the one hand, but on the other hand, we've seen the thousands of people who've gone on to live a happier, more fulfilled, more authentic life. And we just want everybody else, we desire all to receive it.
Forward.
I'm actually so excited because, you know, feeling like I can move forward and be truly authentic about who I am and what I believe, and the wonderful things that make me me that have nothing to do with church, the church really. Although I did gain some positive things, and those things I'll keep, but everything else I can throw away. The things that do not serve me, I can throw away, and so I'm excited for my future. I'm discovering who I am, that I'm a great person. I don't have to be afraid of who I am in front of family, friends, or, you know, some sort of deity.
I'm excited. I feel like time is on our side, getting past Mormonism, and through that, I'm optimistic.
Same, it's different than I was expecting all my life growing up. You know, I had an idea of what I was going to be like, and now it's exciting and it's a little scary because I have to figure out who I am for myself, and not to try and fit a mold that the church has
created,
tried to force me to fit into, that I didn't always fit into, you know. And
wow, honestly, it feels like my life began when I resigned, but not just when I resigned, not when I left, but when I met my first group of former Mormons. I felt like I'd met my family. I lost my family somewhat, to some extent, when I left. We still get together, but these people feel like my family. It seems like my future began, my life began at that point. For some reason, life's been much better for me as a former Mormon than as a Mormon. Things have worked out much better for me. Financially, emotionally, it just feels more fulfilling to me. It's a really, for me personally, I like my life. It's a fun life, and I have no regrets about leaving.
We're excited.
Moving forward, we feel great.
Oh,
seriously,
it's fabulous.
And as far as the future goes, I mean, you know, we're meeting great people. We're expanding our horizons. We're outside in comfortable clothing and not uncomfortable anymore.
I mean, there's a weight that is lifted off. Just
a serious weight.
You just feel.
You don't feel guilty
free.
anymore. You don't feel shamed anymore, and you don't feel like you have to be perfect anymore.
For me personally, I feel intellectually stronger.
We've had a great experience.
Yes.
Thank you.
You will survive. Life is good. Yay. We're happy.
Can I get a kiss?
Sure.
Not for me, but yeah. All right. Thank you.
Much love.
The event is called Out of the Shadows and Into the Light, and I wanted it to be representative of us coming into the light, not hiding in the shadow. Many ex-Mormons feel like they have to hide their non-belief, and I don't want us to have to do that anymore, because the only thing hiding does is it lets the people who don't agree with us believe that we are evil people, because they don't know anyone. If you know someone who's gay, you know that they're not evil. If you know someone who has resigned from the church, you can then judge them on something besides just being, an evil apostate.